All right, so the season finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi. First off, general thoughts. I think this takes the cake for best overall episode of the series. I loved episode 5, but I think with everything that happened in the finale, 100% the best episode of the show. The rematch of the century, I thought the fight was awesome. I thought the music, thank you, was spectacular. There were a lot of interesting things that I was nervous about going into the finale that they kind of took care of, to be honest. I feel like there was enough care with canon in terms of the story behind it and in front of it. Wrapping up the Leia storyline, seeing Qui-Gon was amazing, even though it was just a taste. Just a small taste. The Qui-Gon stuff was really good. Overall, I loved the emotion in this episode. And this show, obviously, is going to be based a lot on nostalgia. We're dealing with Kenobi. We're dealing with Anakin and Vader. We got Leia in there, which I don't think any of us knew we were getting that much Leia in this show. I don't know if we knew we were getting any Leia, to be honest. I don't really remember that much about hearing about Leia. We barely got any Luke, which was fine, I guess, for the story they told here. But the emotion was great. The nostalgia is what drives a story like this. And I thought, for the most part, it worked really well. And this finale, it has like 3 pillars, I feel like. 3 really main pillars. The Obi-Wan, Vader, Anakin story, the Reva story, and then the Leia story. Let's just focus on those 3 main pillars for now. Let's start with Reva. And her whole story, it doesn't feel like it needed to be crammed into this story. Just everything that went on with her. She waited 10 years for revenge on Vader and then had that weak attempt to kill him in the last episode. I still don't know if that was a symbolic stabbing or a real stabbing of Reva as a youngling at the temple. I'm going with the idea that she did get stabbed by Anakin and that she survived that. If she actually got stabbed by Anakin Skywalker with his lightsaber as a youngling, somehow survived, that's 1,000,000% a story that needs to be covered. Whether you want more Reva or you don't, I feel like that needs to be told. I feel like her outcome sets us up for a Reva show. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be told in a second episode of Kenobi. The Reva storyline is absolutely going to continue. I feel like that's the reason that they created this character. I feel like that's the reason that she had such a pivotal story pushed into the whole Anakin, Vader, Kenobi storyline. She survived twice, technically. Again, if that wasn't just a symbolic stabbing, if she actually was stabbed as a youngling, she survived Vader twice, basically, getting stabbed in the stomach, which, I mean, we've seen worse from, well, we've never seen a youngling survive a lightsaber stabbing from the Chosen One. from one of the most powerful Force users in the history of the galaxy. I don't know if like Grogu was there to like Force heal her or what happened there, but we're gonna need more on that. But the fact that she found out about Luke, she beat Obi-Wan there, I do very much appreciate the way they were subtle with her lightsaber and kind of Luke never really getting an eye on it or really seeing her, because the moment Owen and Beru get into the fight with Reva, which horrible job on the stakeout and the sniping there, because you had the whole thing set up and you didn't get a clean shot. Like, terrible. Terrible, Owen. You're better than that. But the moment the shit starts to hit the fan, Luke just bails and runs, just leaves. And Reva chases him down and ends up, like, he's on like this cliff and she knocks him down and he gets knocked out. I feel like having him get knocked out is probably the easiest way to like conceal this and maybe have a fuzzy memory about this whole, like, who is this person chasing me through the desert? Like, who was that? Like, that doesn't really have to be part of his memory anymore because he didn't see the lightsaber, thank goodness, because first time he sees a lightsaber is in A New Hope. Oh, what's that? When Obi-Wan's showing him the lightsaber. So the idea that Reva was able to kind of like knock him out, like, that was fine, and then carries him back home to where, another good thing, that it wasn't necessarily Obi-Wan responsible for rescuing him in that moment, because again, he's just a crazy old hermit living out in the Dune Sea. Obi-Wan isn't anything to Luke except some guy that just showed up one day, said hello there, and dropped off a cool toy. It doesn't have to be any more than that. And I think that part of the story's fine. But then Reva has this like breakdown. So like the whole Reva revenge thing, it's like, okay, I did a really horrible job after waiting 10 years to kill Vader. But now that I'm having these moments of like, oh, he killed my family, I'm gonna go kill his son. And then has a breakdown that she couldn't do it. Like the motive made sense, but then not following through. Obviously she couldn't kill Luke for the sake of the story. That's kind of the challenge of doing a prequel. There really was no suspense there or too much fear for it. But it kind of ends with Obi-Wan letting her walk away, being like, you're free now, you get to be who you want, which, hell Hell nah. I don't care what she says, what she did. Obi-Wan could not let her walk away. That is the only thing that really, really bothers me from this finale and this show as a whole. She has this information. The fact that she knows where Luke is. She knows who Luke is. I don't care if she's redeemed or not. You can't let her leave. We already later see the way Kenobi responded to Maul the moment he realized that Obi-Wan was protecting someone. He struck him down with one swipe and ended that. So this idea that like, oh, all of a sudden Reva's good and then he just lets her walk and be free, I don't know. Like, I don't know how you trust her in that moment. I don't know, with everything that you guys went through, that like force connection that you guys had in the previous episode, I don't know what it is. But I feel like that's a huge hole to leave wide open for Obi-Wan to get buried in potentially. See what I did there? But it's just one of those things where that was going into this episode. I'm like, there's no way Kenobi could let her live under any circumstances. I mean, that's just where it goes. And I don't know what Reva's future is going to look like. But I think whether it's going to be in a season 2 of Kenobi, which I hope we don't get a season 2 of Kenobi. I'm satisfied. I'm happy. That story, I feel like we're good. But at the same time, I think we're going to get some kind of Reva spinoff somewhere. Because again, there's a lot to her story. There's still so many questions about her and her story and her background and how she got to where she was and all that stuff. But I think we're going to get more of Reva. The second biggest story, I'm going to save like the best for last, which is the Kenobi and Vader, Anakin stuff. The next big one is Leia. I wanted Leia to get dropped back off at Alderaan in like episode 2. I thought the actor was amazing. I wish Carrie Fisher was around to see her perform as young Leia. I thought she was so good. I thought she was the perfect young Leia. I thought she nailed it. But there was too much. She really dominated the show, especially early on with all the running around and the chases and then Obi-Wan constantly having to save her. It was part of the story, it's fine. But this idea now, my biggest problem, obviously I expressed it a lot, this idea that when we see Leia in A New Hope, there doesn't seem to be this super tight bond with Kenobi. The message is very formal. General Kenobi, you served my father in the Clone Wars. Like, it's very formal. And my biggest issue was just this idea that like there doesn't seem to be that super tight bond relationship in the original trilogy. But I thought they did a great job covering that up, filling that little hole. That conversation that her and Obi-Wan have, I think that was great. I think that solved any of those problems because he makes a clear point to tell Leia, if you ever need my help, I'm available. But you gotta be careful because both of our lives could be at stake if too many people find out exactly what's going on with our relationship. So that makes perfect sense that she would address him as General Kenobi. You serve my father. Like, it works for me. And I don't think going back and watching A New Hope, I don't think there's going to be anything too weird about that relationship. I kind of don't love the way Leia reacts when Obi-Wan is struck down by Vader. But again, we're dealing with someone who not that long ago had her entire planet blown up and didn't really have this crazy emotional response. It wasn't one of those things where it like broke her as a character. She's so strong just in her mind that she understood what was happening in that moment, I feel like. I think that's the explanation. It's like, Luke, we gotta get the fuck out of here. We gotta leave. But then there was really no like mourning or grieving about Kenobi. After what they went through, that's a lot. She got saved I don't know how many times by him. The relationship's super close. Obviously, you would want a little bit more in A New Hope with Kenobi, but it kind of is what it is. They don't even really interact at all. I don't think they have one interaction in the original trilogy. But again, I think that conversation with Leia and Obi-Wan at the end really kind of protects that whole message that she sends out. I think that was the biggest concern. So I think that was good. I very much appreciated that. The emotion there, hearing Leia's song there, it's just all the feels so good. I thought it was so well done. And their farewell was very sad. Now let's talk about the best shit of this finale. Obi-Wan and Vader. The fight, the conversation, the relationship, leaving Vader there to just feel like he did. I thought the whole sequence was really good. I love the environments haven't been great in this show. They're kind of just bland and like they're always like dirt desert planets, and there was just a lot of like pillars and rocks there. I love the wide shots and just seeing their sabers go at it. I thought that stuff was great. I love the visuals. A lot of the cinematography wasn't great in this show. A lot of shaky cam, a lot of really dark moments. But overall, I really enjoyed the choreography in this battle. You saw Obi-Wan using a lot of Vader's or Anakin's techniques. You just saw, and I think this is something a lot of us have wanted to see for a long time. We really see how powerful Obi-Wan is. And it 100% confirms the line in A New Hope, when I left you, you were the master, now I'm the master kind of thing. Like, it is very clear that Obi-Wan, and I mean, Vader even calls him master in this moment, just like he did in Revenge of the Sith. So this idea that, you know, Obi-Wan's still the master, it works and it fits. And the conversation was so good. I want to pull up some of the dialogue here. It like starts off with him asking, have you come here to destroy me, Obi-Wan? Obi-Wan responding with, I'll do what I must, which is another callback to their first fight on Mustafar, which I thought was really cool. And then his response is like, and this is why you always lose. Even though Obi-Wan never loses, bro. What are you talking about, Vader? Obi-Wan beats you every single time. And Vader again, did you truly think you can defeat me, as he's like piling shit on top of Obi-Wan? You have failed, master. Powerful lines. But the best stuff, I thought the best dialogue was basically when Obi-Wan gets Vader's mask cut open, very much like Ahsoka did in Rebels. That's when the emotion starts coming out, and hearing Vader and Anakin's voices go back and forth was so good. Obi-Wan, like after he cracks his mask open, he sees him, he says Anakin, and he starts getting so emotional. And Anakin is gone. I'm what remains. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did. The same way I will destroy you. Then my friend is truly dead. Much like Luke says, then my father is truly dead. Kenobi says goodbye and walks away. Kenobi apologizing for everything, and then Anakin responding with what he did, and then Vader kind of come, because I feel like there's almost like a split personality there. I think it's pretty clear that Vader and Anakin, like Anakin's still so he's always conflicted. I feel like up until the point that he speaks to Palpatine, which was a really cool scene to kind of solidify why Obi-Wan was able to chill for the next 10 years, they got bigger fish to fry. They don't, like, Obi-Wan is not a threat to them anymore, and Palpatine's like, fucking move on, bro. We got bigger things to handle. And there's clearly conflict all the way up until that point, and there's even still conflict within. I think he just buries it deep down inside when he's around the Emperor, if he has the ability to do that. Because it's like the moment Luke shows up, I think a really fun thing about the whole Vader storyline, Ahsoka took off the right side of the mask, Kenobi took off the left side of the mask, and then his son was able to take the entire mask off for the full redemption story. I thought that was so good. And just this idea that Vader's always been a conflicted person. Anakin has always been inside. And Padme even said it, like Obi-Wan, there's still good in him. And I really wish Obi-Wan would have kind of dropped that line, or at least a Padme thing to him, just to add even more just intensity and potentially get more anger and get Vader to hulk up and be even more aggressive. But overall, I loved that fight. I love the sequence. I love the dialogue. I love the emotion, the music, just everything in that moment felt so good to me. And it's basically what I wanted. The dialogue, for the most part, is what I wanted there. And then Kenobi, being Kenobi, unable to kill his brother, he still sees Anakin there, but he's not there. And he can never finish that job. And it's just like in Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan's like, send me to kill the Emperor. I can't go kill Anakin. And it's just not in him. It's a trait that we had established for a while about Kenobi. And it's just one of those really big things that by leaving him there to live, he goes on to terrorize the entire galaxy. He goes on to kill millions of people, and leaving him there to, like, that's some heavy weight when you think about it, leaving him alive like that. But again, it's kind of the struggles and the challenges of doing a prequel story when a certain story's already established. You can't go in and be like, oh, I'm gonna kill Vader. Like, you can't kill Vader. Vader's an integral part of the original trilogy. You can't do that in a prequel. You could do like a what if series about Obi-Wan killed Vader, but you can't do a canon story around that, which just makes things hard and challenging. But overall, again, I thought it was really well done. And just the way he says, like, he just sees a broken down, just lost, struggling individual, and it almost felt like Vader just wanted him to come take him out and just kill him. And then we see Vader being obsessed with Kenobi in his castle on Mustafar, and we get to see the Emperor again, and it's always great to see Ian McDiarmid. That was just the message, like, hey, it's time to move on. No more Kenobi talk, no more Kenobi focus. If you're not focused here, then you can't. Like, I felt like he was gonna give him like an ultimatum. And that's when we got the Imperial March, which that just hearing that in that moment, so good. so powerful, and it makes sense because I feel like that's the ultimate shift. It's like, all right, now Vader becomes 100% dedicated to the Emperor, fully dedicated to this empire and everything that they need to do. His focus is no longer on Kenobi, and they're just going to move forward and terrorize the entire galaxy. And then with Kenobi, just the whole show ends with him moving to a new spot, creating a little bit more distance from Luke. And there we see Qui-Gon's Force Ghost, which, why isn't he at the end of the original trilogy if we're seeing him as a Force Ghost? Whatever, that's a nitpick. I don't really care. I wanted to see Qui-Gon. I had a strong feeling that we were going to see him. You can never listen to these damn actors because they're not going to give away certain things. I'm so happy that he lied to us. I'm so happy he didn't reveal exactly. He's like, oh yeah, I'm in Kenobi. Yeah, I'm in Kenobi. Like, thank you for lying. I appreciate it. And it's like, where have you been, bro? I've been waiting for you. It's about time. And so it was a lot of fun seeing Qui-Gon that he's been here the whole time. He just wasn't ready. And then they ride off into the sunset, basically. That wraps up the show. I don't think I need any more Kenobi show. I think a second season would, again, just put us in danger of messing up with the original story and messing up with canon. But yeah, overall, I thought the show was There's a lot of really questionable decision making and a lot of questionable writing, and the cinematography was a little weird. But these last 2 episodes, the Vader content, the Obi-Wan content, the Leia stuff, some of the holes that were kind of filled in. I thought these last 2 episodes were awesome. I thought they were great. I love that they, I don't love that they waited for the end to give us all the good music, because I feel like there probably could have been some really emotional moments earlier in the show if you kind of teased us with the music, gave us different versions of the music. But the Star Wars music drives the emotion, it drives the story. Overall, the music is just amazing and just such a valuable driver of a story. But overall, I thought the show was fine. I think I probably put it second of my favorite Star Wars shows. Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett. I think I would put it somewhere in the middle. It's not a show that I don't wish didn't happen. I enjoyed seeing some of the stuff that we did. The stuff that I loved in this show, I loved. And the stuff that I didn't love, I really didn't like at all. But yeah, overall, I very much enjoyed the show. I thought it was good. I thought the finale nailed it. And again, these last 2 episodes, it doesn't completely redeem the whole 6 episodes, but it leaves you with a good taste in your mouth, I feel like, in terms of a good story. The way it was wrapped up, got a nice little bow put on it. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed the show. And again, the last 2 episodes were bangers.